LI News Radio presents the Long Island Leaders Series with Jay Oliver.
And welcome, I'm Jay Oliver for LI News Radio 1039, the distinct pleasure of having Frank Tantone. He, the Islip Republican chairman. And Frank, welcome aboard.
Good afternoon, Jay. How are you?
Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Explain the role to the people out there of a chairman, the Islip Republican chairman. What is the role of a Frank Tantone as election time kind of nears within the next couple?
Well, this time of year, we're obviously very busy running campaigns. The town committee and the Republican committee is basically responsible for the town races, of course, but we're also charged with the duty of running county legislative races. So this is the time of year where we're designing mail pieces, doing TV, doing radio, doing whatever our candidates need to get them elected.
So they kind of rely on you as kind of the leader to say, hey, you know what, we need to go here, we need to get here, we need to get the word out on this particular topic, and so on and so on.
Yes, our role as the committee is to support them politically. The elected officials generally do not wade into the political waters. We'd prefer that they just continue to do their job in government, and obviously the political people do not wade into the governmental waters.
Are you happy with the campaign at this point from most of the candidates?
Yes, we are. We have a couple of very excellent candidates this year. We have two incumbents running on the town board level, Trish Bergen, who many viewers will be familiar with, and also Councilman Flatterer, Steve Flatterer, who has been a stalwart at the town of Islip for the past 8 years. We also have a young and upcoming legislative candidate by the name of Anthony Musumeci, who's doing a great job in the 8th Legislative District.
Okay, and then, of course, you know, we're not far from the big day, so it looms large.
Yes, it does.
You know, when I think of the town and the budget deficit, and I read a 0% tax increase, and that's pretty good, because I think a lot of people would like to say, you know what, we have a 0% tax increase in our township. How was that accomplished?
Well, Supervisor Croce, when he was elected roughly 2 years ago, inherited a situation where the town's finances were in severe distress. Along with Trish Bergen, Steve Flotter, and John Cochran and Anthony Sempt, who make up our town board, they started to look for different and unique kind of out-of-the-box ways to close a budget gap, which, upon Supervisor Croce taking office, was $26 million short. In a little less than a year, they've fixed the problem which the prior administration created over 5 years. So we're quite proud of that.
And, you know, when you look at the towns across the island, the top subject everyone talks about is taxes. And do you feel you have done enough out there as far as the officials? Have they attacked that issue in a pretty good way where, you know what, people are somewhat satisfied now?
The town board and the supervisor have taken a very aggressive approach to trying to alleviate the tax problem in a lot of ways. For instance, one of the most successful things they've done is to sell off some of the town's surplus real estate. The town over the years has accumulated quite a bit of property, some of which is no longer necessary. And you get kind of a double bang for the buck, Jay. By selling the property, you obviously get the initial revenue from the sale of the property. But what I think a lot of the voters need to understand is that once that property is sold and goes back onto the tax rolls, now the property continues to, it's the gift that keeps on giving, if you will, because obviously government, when it owns a piece of property, doesn't tax itself. So when it's sold back into the private sector, you get the revenue from the sale, and then you get the continued tax revenue for years to come.
And Frank, you were telling me also about one of the departments in the town. There was the loss of the department and how that affected the town. Tell us about that.
Councilman Sempt and Councilwoman Bergen were charged with the duty of looking for some ways to cut expenses. And one of the things they came upon very early in their administration was to see that the town was in the business of, we had a human services department performing very valuable functions, drug testing, drug and alcohol testing. When people were sentenced to probation, for instance, they had to report and have periodic testing done. However, they felt that that was not the business that the town of Islip needed to be in. So what they did was they began to search for private ways to supply the same service. We're very proud to say that that department was eliminated. However, at this point, 90% of the people that were let go from the town of Islip were then picked up in the private sector, because obviously someplace like the Family Service League, which is a very active nonprofit, took up all those additional cases. Once they had that additional caseload, they needed additional employees. So many of the people who were at the town of Islip were absorbed into the Family Service League, for instance, did not wind up losing their jobs, and that actually wound up in the town saving roughly $3 million from not having to provide that service anymore.
Frank, would you say Islip Township right now is in as good a shape as it's been in quite some years?
I would say the town is definitely on an upswing at this point. The prior administration had some tough years to work through, made some questionable decisions, but given the change in the economy, which we see slightly upticking, I think, locally, and the new generation of leadership in the town of Islip, I think we're very optimistic for the future of Islip.
Frank Tantone, he, the Islip Republican chairman, we welcome and we thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jay.
And for LI News Radio 1039, I'm Jay Oliver. Have a great day.